What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. And folks, I'm absolutely pumped up to get into today's discussion because the Amazons are rolling, baby. What a year it has been for them thus far, and it isn't stopping anytime soon. So I figured let's do a complete deep dive on everything that has went right for the Mets so far this year, and how do they compare and contrast with the other contending teams right now in baseball, and why us Mets fans need to be riding this wave, because yes, trust me when I say this team is in fact different. So that is what we'll be breaking down in today's discussion, folks. So as always, make sure you stay all the way till the end video for all the details and all my thoughts on the New York Mets and what a historic year it has been for them, and it's not stopping in the near future. And of course, folks, if you find yourself enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see great Mets content like this, don't hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you all so much for the continued support, folks. Now let's hop right into today's video. Alright folks, let me start things off by briefly saying that yes, I've been wanting to make this video truly since the start of the season, but normally as a Mets fan, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. So through the first 20 and 40 games, even when they've been rolling, I said, you know what, let's wait until they find themselves playing against some more stronger teams above 500 and that West Coast trip. And that has led me to this point, folks. Regardless on how the Mets fare in their series starting tonight against the Brewers and then games going forward, I have the utmost confidence in not what I'm just about to say, but an even stronger confidence in this Mets team going forward, and you should as well, because I've interacted with a lot of you fellow fans here on the channel and social media. A lot of you guys are on similar wavelength as me, completely understand what the Mets are doing right now, why it's so historic, and why that may very well just be the tip of the iceberg for them this season. Then we have a large sum of fans as well that somehow, some way, truly are sold on the belief that this Mets team is no different than years past. I'm here to tell you that one, this is not a start of the season. The Mets are less than 20 games away from the halfway mark of the year, so you can bury that idea that, oh, this is just a hot start. It's not. And two, I understand the PTSD that comes with more seasoned, more veteran fans than myself that have been through hell and back with this team, but I'm here to tell you that everything has indicated, not just to this point, but in the schedule going forward, that yes, the Mets control their own destiny and they're destined for something great here in the 2022 season. And it starts off with the fact that the Mets entered this year, and not even a full calendar year span, this past offseason completely did a facelift for this team, but did a complete 180 somehow, some way. You would think that there's no way the Mets could somehow hire a GM, hire a manager in Buck Showalter, hire entire coaching staff, and acquire massive pieces, multiple pieces, to really change this roster and what, not even a half-year span or so, and have this type of impact this immediate. But the Mets have been able to do just that, and we have, of course, Steve Cohen to thank for that, of course. But when looking at this Mets team through their first 60 games this year, they're off to the second best start in their franchise's history, and through 62 games at the time of recording this, they are 40-22. They are the second team in all of baseball to crack 40 wins this year. Them and the Yankees broke a record for the first time in MLB that the two teams in NY are the first to 40 wins in a 162 season. The Mets lead the NL. They lead the NL East by 5 games or so right now, up on the Braves. Even with the Braves hot streak that I know a lot of fans are worried about, I'm here to tell you, you shouldn't be as worried. Again, we'll see how the remainder of the season goes, but there are factors behind the Braves success right now, factors behind the Phillies success, and there are ultimately, most certainly, factors behind the Mets success. But before we deep dive a little further on how other teams are doing, let's really emphasize what the Mets have done through this 60-plus game stretch. And as you look at all these numbers here across the entire MLB, the Mets have been the top dog offensively in so many ways. And again, this is without having the same slugging power, the home run hitting power that you see from the Bronx Bombers and the Yankees and the Astros and many other contending clubs. That hasn't stopped the Mets, however, from leading the leagues in runs, leading the league in average, leading the league in on-base percentage, and leading the league in so many other statistics in either top 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. That's the only number that is from the slugging percentage, as you see there. But the point is that the Mets are able to do things without necessarily doing it the way that you initially expect. They don't need to provide that home run power to have immediate offensive success. They just grind out so many pitchers that they face, and we have the likes of Marcana, Brandon Nimmo, and so many other great Mets on this roster, and Jeff McNeil is off to, again, a all-star caliber season. What a massive comeback he's been, along with so many other players. But the point, again, is that the Mets have been able to put the ball in play consistently. They lead the league right now, are tied with 24 sack flies, RBI sack flies, which is huge, something that they only had like half of for the entire the 2021 season. They also are second only by 1 with 9 right now with sack bunts. You know, getting RBIs by just putting the ball in play. This team is so unique. They have such an amazing balance of not just speed on the bags, speed in in the outfield, but again, home run hitting power, contact hitting power, and just grinding out at bats. And it's been such a great gel, a mix of old school and new school baseball that Buck has provided, along with the analytic staff, and of course Eric Chavez, the Mets' great hitting coach that the Mets were able to pry away from the Yankees earlier in the offseason. All this has cultivated into truly something special for the Mets, and there's so many reasons as to why this isn't just legit, but why this isn't going to stop anytime soon, and why, just maybe, this might be not even the best that we've seen from the Mets, not just from an offensive side of things, but an overall team side of things going forward. But when looking at the Mets, how do they compare and contrast with the other top teams in baseball? Because this, in my opinion, is important just for the context alone for Mets fans that are still out there that still somehow, some way are under the notion that this team is no different. Look at how the Mets are per strength of schedule, which means really how difficult has your schedule been so far this season for the Mets and for all the other top teams that you have here in the likes of the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Astros, and even more of recent the Braves. You see this list, and what stands out is the fact that the Mets have had the 5th hardest schedule in baseball, folks, literally so far this season through the first 62 games, and that is massive when evaluating truly who has been the most impressive here. This is not a slight on the Yanks and other teams, but it does tell you that yes, the Mets have not just been a top dog in the league, but they have done it without this being an easy task whatsoever, and without the 2 best pitchers in baseball, one for the entirety of the season and the other over the past couple weeks. The Mets have just found ways to win and to stay consistent. They've only lost 3 series on the year to this point. Again, that's of course going to change. Losses are inevitable, but the point again is they are on such a historic pace right now. When you look at the strength of schedule, it tells you that yes, the Mets have already have more wins against teams above 500 than the Yankees do have games played against teams above 500. And again, this is not to slight them. I'm just trying to do this compare and contrast for people that are really wondering, how legit are the Mets right now? How are they faring against teams above 500? How are they faring overall against teams throughout the league? And thus far, they've done a phenomenal job with one of the hardest schedules out there. And that's why I'm so encouraged about the Mets going forward, because as you see, their strength of schedule for the remainder of the year, the Mets have one of the easier schedules now in all of baseball. Thank goodness for that one. It is truly going to lighten up for them. Yes, the massive thing is that they have 15 games still against the Atlanta Braves, which are the team to be in this division. Can't tell me otherwise. They will until proven otherwise, as a matter of fact. But then they have the matchup against the Yankees, another matchup with the Dodgers, but they have a lot of games against the NL Central, some more games against the Nationals, and of course the Marlins. So the Mets, on paper, have the easiest schedule for the second half of the year, while the Yankees go from having one of the easiest to one of the more difficult ones. Same thing with some other clubs here. Going to be a battle between these two teams in the NL East wholeheartedly. But what I do know is that the Mets, they've been able to get off to a 40-22 start through their first 62 games. Just imagine how much better things can get for them down the stretch when they have endless streaks against below 500 teams that are not going to get above 500 anytime soon this year. And again, this will be with the likes of hopefully Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer in this rotation. Also adding whatever the Mets tend to do at the trade deadline, which I'm sure will be significant, adding to this bullpen, adding more depth to the rotation, because the Mets rotation right now, they're around right in 9 and 10 ranking per Fangraphs, even with all their injuries, because guys like David Pearson, Trevor Williams, so many others have stepped up huge for them, and Tyler McGill back from his injury is great to see too. But the bullpen, the Mets aren't looking great in the bullpen. That's something they want to tack on to. But again, the Mets are able to do all these things without having the best pitching staff right now, without having the best bullpen by any stretch. And these things are going to get better. They're going to be added on to, and guys are going to come back healthy. So again, for the people in the back that are somehow, some way still under the notion that this Mets team is no different than years past, just wait and see. Grab your popcorn, enjoy these games. Do not think that the sky is falling just by the Mets losing a series or two. Focus on the now, and focus on the fact that how the Mets have compared to the Braves, who have, at time of recording this, won 12 straight. The Braves haven't played one competent team during that winning streak. They've yet to face any competent team during this winning streak, as a matter of fact. The Phillies, they've won 9 of their past 10 games. Other than the Brewers, they haven't dominated anyone of true significance right now. So when you look at the Mets, you have to be feeling confident that they aren't just rolling, but they're rolling while having a difficult schedule. And now things are going to line up for them, which again, they control their own destiny. Nothing's a guarantee. But on paper, they are in position to truly have a magical second half of the season and truly make something hopefully worthwhile for us Mets fans to remember, for not, if not forever, then for a very long period of time. But Mets fans, let me know all your thoughts and comments below. How do you feel about the Mets and their historic start to the season? Are you buying into this Mets team finally, or are you still somehow under the notion that this team is going to inevitably collapse as they have done in years past? Regardless of what your thoughts are, please make sure to let me know them in the comments below. As always, folks, if you found yourself enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, don't hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button. Share this video with your friends, on the notification notification bell, all those great things. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Expect more great, consistent content here in WardyNYM all season long. I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Let's go Mets, baby.